You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. Your source for the best information and insight when it comes to sports wagering. We cover it all because you bet on it all. So let's head up to the studio and get this show rolling.
Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. I am Brooksie, the Irish Insider, and I'm flying solo tonight as my co-pilot, Easy Money Eric LaFleche. Well, he's on assignment this week. He will be back in an upcoming episode. Speaking of Easy Money, man, I got to give that man kudos. He broke down the Fury Wilder 3 fight. And boy, oh boy, did he have the right side on that fight. He had Fury winning the fight, and he also predicted him on TKO KO. I think he predicted 9th round. Happened in the 11th. But Easy Money, man, he was definitely on the money with that fight. Matter of fact, he did a great, what we call a quick hitter video. So head on over to our 7 and a Hook Podcast YouTube page. You'll see his quick hitter video regarding that fight, along with all of other content, including our podcast and other videos that we put up each week. Now, along with our weekly podcast, we do, as what I mentioned, quick hitters. Usually put something up each day. Maybe it's on a special event that's happened that day or a game or something that's upcoming. But boy, oh boy, we try to give as much content as possible. So do us a favor, head on over to YouTube, search 7 and a Hook Podcast. Give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. All right, speaking of other ways to find us, as you can see in front of me on our screen, 7andahook.com. That's right. Our website was launched about a week ago. Got a lot of great feedback so far. So do me a favor, head on over to the site. Let us know what you think. Our socials, the number 7andahook.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I already mentioned YouTube. Do me a favor, head on over, give us a like, give us a follow on all those things. Reach out to us, let us know what you think. We always say, hey, don't just be a spectator, be a participator. We encourage it very much so. So anyways, all right, so those that are new to the show, what is 7 and a Hook Podcast? Well, as you heard in the intro, we cover it all because you bet on it all. That's right. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, auto racing, MMA, bass fishing, could be bowling, Olympics, soccer, whatever it is. If there's a line on it and you can put a wager on it, we're going to talk about it. So again, we cover it all because you bet on it all. So, all right. So as far as tonight, what's our agenda? What's on the menu? Okay. Well, let me tell you, we're going to start with a little college football. I've got 2 games that I'm considered my spotlight games. I'm going to break those down. Then we're going to go right into the NFL. I've got 3 spotlight games I want to share with you, give my information, give my insight. After that, NHL, baby. That's right. Hockey is back. Couldn't be more excited about that. Love hockey. Love hockey. Love the action. Love the grit. Love the toughness. Matter of fact, the NHL got underway last evening. 2 games to open up the season. Tampa Bay, the reigning Stanley Cup champion, hosted the Pittsburgh Penguins. Wasn't a great night for Tampa. They got kind of run out of their own building 6-2 by Pittsburgh. The other game on tap, it was the late game out west. It was the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the expansion Seattle Kraken. That's right. We got an expansion team. New team joining the NHL this year. The Kraken. Man, that's one cool name. Hopefully, you know, I've seen the logo. It's okay. I hope they have an alternate logo that's a little, I don't know, more Krakenish, a little more, I don't know, got a little more to it. Anyways, but we'll get to that. Point is, hockey's back. Okay. So, what I'm going to do with the NHL is I'm going to preview the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, basically going to tell you the teams that I think have the best chance of winning those conferences And then I'm also going to tell you who's going to end up in the Stanley Cup and who's going to be hoisting that trophy at the end of this season. Also going to break down. I have one game this weekend that I've kind of put an asterisk against, so I'm going to talk about that NHL game. Hopefully you can get down on it because I know I will be. All right. After the NHL, I'm going to go to soccer, little international football, right? Us Yanks call it soccer. Everyone else calls it football. Those that tuned in to last week's episode know that I did a big soccer-only show last week, one of the shows we did. And part of the show was about the UEFA Nation League, the two games that went on this past weekend. You had France taking on Spain in the final, and then you had Italy taking on Belgium in the third place game. Well, guess what, folks? Those were two of my strongest plays. I had both sides, and I had both totals. So I had I had France winning over Spain. Goal total was 2.5. It went over. France won the match. I also had Italy and the over 2.5 in that game. Again, Italy beat Belgium, and the score went over 2.5. So I love soccer, and I love betting on soccer. So we're going to do a little bit more of that tonight. So we're going to do a little World Cup qualifying, a couple matches in CONMEBOL I want to break down. I also have an EPL, an English Premier League match I want to take a look at. I'm going to end tonight with a little NASCAR. That's right, we're going on the pavement. A little 200-mile-an-hour kind of talk, and that is coming from a couple driver matchups I like to look at, the props, and that is in the Autotrader EchoPark 500 that's taking place this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway. So, without further ado, let's get this show rolling. All right, so college football. First spotlight game I want to look at is the Florida Gators on the road to take on the LSU Tigers. Now, Florida is -10 in this game. Points total set at 58. Florida is ranked 20th in the nation. They come into this game 4-2. The LSU Tigers 3-3. Now, Florida last week absolutely beat up on Vanderbilt. 42 to the goose egg. That's right, 0 points. Vanderbilt could not put up any points against the Gators defense. Now, I think Florida took out a little bit of their frustrations on the Commodores from last week. They lost to Kentucky, which again was kind of unexpected, but Kentucky, we'll talk about them. They're a pretty good team this year. So Florida lost to Kentucky, comes back and stomps on Vanderbilt. Quarterback for Florida, Emory Jones. He had a very solid performance. 273 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. Now the Gator defense, man, they were chomping at the bit. They had a great game. Actually forced 2 turnovers, okay? Now, LSU, what'd they do last week? Yeah, coming off a 42-21 loss to who? Kentucky Wildcats. Names coming up quite a bit here. So, and before I talk about LSU, let's just stay on Kentucky real quick. Kentucky has kind of, I guess, not slept, but they've been quietly moving up in the rankings, right? They're currently ranked 11th in the country. They are 6-0. They're legit. Now, how legit are they? Are they too legit to quit? I'm not going there yet. We're going to find out this week, though. They take on Georgia. Yeah, that Georgia, the #1 ranked team in the country. They're going to be letting the dogs out. I'm going to break down that game probably later this week in one of my quick hitters. But just don't sleep on Kentucky. We'll see. They're -22 dog. They're getting 22 points right now. So I'm going to break that game down at another time. But anyways, back to LSU. Okay. They're currently last in the SEC. Yes, last. LSU is last. So there's some rumblings, and where there's rumbling, there's usually truth, right? Smoke, there's fire, whatever whatever cliche you want to use. Their head coach, Mr. Ed Orgeron, I keep saying his name wrong. He's on the hot seat. Let's just put it that way, regardless if I can, butcher his name or not. Coach Ed, you better start winning, okay? Now, they got to get past Florida. Guess who's still on their schedule? Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Alabama, okay? That is one big mountain Coach Ed's got to climb, and the LSU Tigers. So, all right, so what do I think about this week? Let's talk about Florida again. Florida, after this week, they actually have a week off. They got a bye week. Well, who do they play after their bye? Georgia. That's right. What do they call that game? The world's largest cocktail party, right? I think this year they're calling it the River City Showdown. All right. Well, this is what I see. I see Florida using this LSU game as an appetizer for that entree that's coming against Georgia. So I see the Gators -10. They're going to cover that number easy, okay? The extra motivation that they're going to have is last year, LSU miraculously beat the Gators 37-34. Yeah, as I say, payback is a beep. So anyways, Florida, -10, chomp, chomp. And as far as the points total, I'm leaning towards the under right now. Not one of my strongest plays, but if I was going to play a points total, it'd probably be the under 58. Okay, my next spotlight game in college football, Tulsa Golden Hurricanes on the road to take on the South Florida Bulls. Okay, the Hurricanes are -8 favorite. Points total is set at 57 and a hook. Okay, Tulsa comes into this game 2-4. South Florida Bulls come into this game 1-4. So let's look at Tulsa first. All right, Tulsa is coming off an impressive win over Memphis. And you say, why? Well, why is that impressive? Well, because Memphis is an up-and-coming team. Very talented, both sides of the ball. Now, they're a year or two away of being, kind of one of those bowl contenders, but they're a good team. Why do I think they're a good team? Well, they beat Mississippi State earlier this year. Yeah, Mississippi State. Mississippi State's no slouch. And Memphis didn't back into the game. It wasn't a fluke. They were better than Mississippi State. So, Tulsa beating Memphis, I think, is an impressive win. Quarterback for Tulsa, Davis Brin, okay? Workmanlike day, 182 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You got to like when you put the goose egg up when it comes to interceptions. Their running back, Shamari Brooksie! Solid day from him. 26 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brooksie! Namesake, got to do it. All right, but I won't do it again. All right, their defense also stepped up. They had 2 interceptions on the day. They wreaked a lot of havoc for they wreaked a lot of havoc. That's all I can tell you. And they kept their offense on the field. Okay, they were the big reason why Tulsa picked up that win last week. Memphis didn't know what to do with their defensive backs. Their scheme was confusing. Let's put it that way for the Memphis quarterback. So, anyways, all right, South Florida. They had a bye week last week. They played October 2nd, and they lost to SMU 41-17. As I mentioned, the Bulls are 1-4. Their only win this season was against Florida A&M. Who? Yeah, exactly. Florida A&M. They're in the football championship subdivision. It's even hard for me to say that, but really, what's that code word for? It's kind of like junior league. You know what I mean? They're not a major powerhouse by any means. So that's their only win on the season. I'm not that impressed by it at all. Tulsa last year crushed the Bulls 42-13. Tulsa got better this year. South Florida didn't. I look for a repeat in the crushment. So I'm going to take Tulsa. I'm going to lay the 8 points. And as far as the total, 57 and a hook. Again, not one of my stronger plays, but I'm leaning towards the under in that game also. So Tulsa -8 and under 57 and a hook if you like to play totals. All right, let's move now to the NFL. I've got 3 spotlight games, okay? Miami Dolphins take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams on the road. Why? Well, the game is in London, okay? The Dolphins are favored by 3 and a hook. Total is 45 and a hook. Dolphins come into this game 1-4. Jaguars come into this game goose egg and 5, 0-5. Okay. Last week, we sent 2 cellar dwellers, as I like to call them, the Jets and the Falcons, across the pond to put on a show for the Londoners. Okay. Wasn't a bad game. Falcons ended up winning, but not exactly 2 powerhouses that we sent over to represent the NFL. Okay. So what do we do this week? We send them 2 more cellar dwellers. Okay. The Londoners got to be, what the, right? Little WTF. Hey, listen, you know, when the schedules were made a year or 2 ago or 2 years ago, who knew what these teams are going to be like? But to have 2 clunkers in a row, doesn't look great on the NFL. But listen, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where the game's going to be taking place, that thing's going to be sold out. They're going to sell a lot of beer and they're going to sell a lot of T-shirts. So at the end of the day, it's good for the NFL and it's good for the folks over in London getting to see some NFL superstars up close and personal. All right, so let's look at the 2 teams, what they did, and what I think's coming. Miami, they got Brady'd last week, and what I mean by that, Tom Brady. All right, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers trounced them 45-17. Okay, Buccaneers put up 558 yards from scrimmage. The Dolphins 301. Ugh, trouncing. Okay. Now, Brady threw for 5 touchdowns, 411 yards. Okay? Now, Brady's done a lot of great things in his career. He's never done that. Okay? So, the Miami Dolphins, they're not very happy that is going to be tattooed on their forehead. But listen, you guys own it. Brady put up some big numbers, the first time he's ever done it, and it was against the Finns. So, okay. Now, since week 1, regarding the Dolphins again, where they had a very good road victory against New England Patriots, they have literally been in a tailspin ever since. Okay? They've lost 4 in a row. Now, their quarterback, Tua, well, you know, he's been out. And Jacoby Brissett has been stepping in, but hasn't been stepping up. Okay? Now, rumor has it that Tua is going to be off the injured list and may be available to practice this week, maybe even travel to London to play. Now, I don't, you know, is he going to play? I don't know, but we shall see. But regardless, the Dolphins, their quarterback position is, safe to say, not exactly secure. Deshaun Watson! Yeah, maybe the folks in Miami are listening. He's still available, okay? And the trade deadline is November 2nd. So you got about 3.5 weeks to get this done. Tua isn't the answer long term, and we know Jacoby Brissett is a backup. So go get him. I mean, seriously, at this point, what do you have to lose? Go get Deshaun Watson, roll the dice. Okay, so Jaguars. They didn't fare much better last week as they got beat up by the Tennessee Titans, 37-19 to fall to 0-5. The only other team that's 0-5, or goose egg and 5, as I like to say, is the Detroit Lions. So Jaguars are having a tough season. Now, last week, Urban Meyer, well, he brought some unwanted drama to the team. You know, it happened the week prior when he allegedly got a lap dance, didn't get a lap dance, allegedly had a little too much to drink at a Cincinnati bar. He just looked like a total donkey, bozo, not exactly a leadership type of move by him. Now, he apologized and he put his head between his tail, but wasn't a good look. The team was definitely, I would say it was a distraction at the very least, and it certainly didn't help them in their preparation against Tennessee. Now, Trevor Lawrence, their rookie franchise quarterback, has kind of looked like a rookie this season. All right, he's got 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's going through some growing pains, but he's a good player. He's going to get better week in, week out. Obviously this year, I don't expect much out of the Jags, but he's improving. He'll be better soon. Okay. Now the bright spot for the Jags is their running back, James Robinson. Last week, 149 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Okay, on the season, he's got 387 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. Even better, he's averaging 6.3 yards a carry. Hey, Urban Meyer, hand him the ball more. Okay? Hand him the ball more. What do I know? All right, anyways. Okay, so what do I think about this week's game? I actually think the Jaguars, by the way, they've lost 20 games in a row now. Forgot to mention that earlier. 20 games in a row dating back to last season. Okay, so anyways, back to the Jags. What do I think? I actually think them getting out of Dodge, so to speak, is a good thing. Okay? Stop answering questions about Urban Meyer, his alleged lap dance, all that. Let's just pack everything up, go to London. Good idea. Get away from some of the press here. Okay? Focus on a game somewhere else in a different country. Right? Take your mind off of the garbage that's going on back at home, caused by your head coach. Okay, a lot of times traveling to London, these international games, is kind of a distraction in a bad way to most teams. This travel, they hate this travel. I actually think this is a good distraction for the Jaguars. I think they can rally together, and I actually think they're going to cover this game. I know you're looking at me like, what? They've lost 20 in a row. I know they've lost 20 in a row. This is the game. They're going to cover. I'm going to take the 3.5. Okay, 3 and a hook. And again, don't be surprised if the Jaguars win this game. Yes, win this game. Check out the money line. It might be worth playing. I think they're going to break their 20-game losing streak. The sad thing is they're going to do it in front of fans in another country. So their fans back in Jacksonville, it'd have been nice if they did it at home, but hey, whatever. A win's a win is a win, as they say. So anyway, all right. So Jacksonville plus 3 and a hook. As far as the total is set as 45 and a hook. I like the over in this. I think both teams are going to open it up. What do you got to lose? I like the over 45 and a hook. Again, not my strongest play, but if you're going to play a total, I like the over. All right, so next NFL spotlight game. Arizona Cardinals on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are favored by 3, -3 at home. Points total set, 51 and a hook. All right, the Cards, they travel to Cleveland as the lone undefeated team left remaining in the NFL. Okay, Cards are coming off a 17-10 win over the 49ers. Kyler Murray, another solid performance out of their QB. 22 of 31, 239 yards in the air, 1 touchdown. Here you go, there's that goose egg. No interceptions. Now, Kyler Murray has done everything right. Okay? Kyler Murray, there's a reason why he's one of the favorites to win the MVP. So if you look at the current odds, he's plus 500. Okay? there's one other gentleman that is a bigger favorite than him. That's another quarterback, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. He's plus 400. Now, Josh Allen had a signature win last week, Kansas City, 38-20. That's a big win. Chiefs are 4-1. Arizona is 5-0. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But 5 weeks in, there's your two front runners right now for MVP. All right, so let's get back to the Cardinals. They're doing everything right. They're winning games. If they have an Achilles heel, and they do, it's their rush defense. It's among the bottom in the league. So they're going to have to look into shoring that up if they're going to continue on this winning ways. All right, let's look at the Browns. Browns are 3-2. They're coming off a very tough, disappointing loss to the Chargers, 47-42. Not that they were supposed to win that game, so I don't want to say, disappointing in the sense that, man, they were a big favorite. It's disappointing because they were up they had a 14-point lead. Okay? They should have won this game. They just couldn't close it out. Okay? Now, if I told you that Baker Mayfield, he was going to throw for over 300 yards, have 2 touchdowns, okay, and Nick Chubb, running back, was going to rush for 161 yards and a touchdown, you'd say, okay, the Cleveland Browns are going to win. Again, they didn't. All right, their defense didn't do enough. The defensive backs, they're susceptible to the big plays. Now the Chargers, the Browns couldn't get the Chargers off the field. Okay, Chargers was 6 of 13 in third down conversions. Worse than that, or better than that, depending on what team you follow, the Chargers were 3 for 3 on fourth down conversions. When has that ever happened? Chargers had zero goose egg respect for the Browns defense. They better shore things up on the defensive side of the ball. When teams are attempting fourth downs instead of punting on a regular basis, you better look at your defensive coordinator and say, hey, what's going on here? So, all right. So anyways, let's look. What do I like? What do I think? All right. Arizona. They're 5-0. 5-0. Only undefeated in the NFL. They're facing a 3-2 team. But yet, they're the underdog? Huh. Sticky. Yeah, something smells here. Okay? Arizona, right, is 5-0. I'm going to say it again. Shouldn't they be favored? No, maybe not. Not sure. The bookies want you to take Arizona, right? A 5-0 team getting 3 points. Yeah, I'm all over Arizona. Not so fast, as Lee Corso would say. Look at their records are their records, but look a little deeper, all right? Arizona's 5-0, okay? They beat the Vikings barely, okay? Could have lost that game. That game went back and forth, okay? The Jacksonville Jaguars, yep, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they were losing to them. The Jaguars actually were the better team for part of that game. Now, the Jaguars imploded. Jaguars are going in for a touchdown. They threw an interception. That was the end of that drive. Trevor Lawrence threw a pick 6 on some crazy flea flicker play. Okay? And let's not forget, the Cardinals, they ran back a 109-yard touchdown on a kick. So that was a wacky game. They literally could have lost that game. Okay? And then last week against the 49ers, against a rookie quarterback, Trey Lance, yeah, they won. It was 17-10, but it wasn't convincing, okay? I just don't think Arizona is really 5-0. All right, now what about the Browns? The Browns are 3-2, okay? Their 2 losses, one to Kansas City on the opening weekend, okay? And they lost to the Chargers last week. Both games, they were leading, okay? They should have won against Kansas City. They should have won against the Chargers. Again, they didn't close the game out, but they really could be the 5-0 team, and Arizona could be the 3-2 team. So I actually think the bookmakers got this number right. I think Cleveland -3 is the play. They're going to cover this. And as far as the total, 51 and a hook, I'm leaning towards the over. Okay, I like the Browns -3, and I like the over 51 and a hook. All right, my third spotlight game this week in the NFL is the Houston Texans on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, Colts are favored by 9 and a hook. Total 42 and a hook. Okay, the Texans come into this game 1-4. The Colts come into this game 1-4. All right, Texans. The Texans seemed like they were going to pick up their second victory of the season over New England last week, as they led for most of the game, and they led comfortably. Matter of fact, it was 22-9 into the second half, okay? But, as I say, it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. And unfortunately, the Texans arrived in the loser bus, okay? With 15 seconds to go, Patriots completed a 21-yard touchdown pass. See you later, good night, game over. Okay, they lost 25-22. Tyrod Taylor, he's still out, so it looks like Davis Mills is going to get another start. Okay, now last week he looked pretty good against the Patriots. He was 21-29, 312 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns. That's a really good week. Well, the week before, he was 11-21, 87 yards, 4 against the Bills. So, which Davis Mills is going to show up this week? Nobody knows, okay? Plus, this is the third road game out of 4 games. This will be the second. This will be a back-to-back road game for Mills. Might be a little bit too much for him to chew at this point. Now, the Colts. Let's look at them real quick. They're coming off I don't know if it was a devastating loss, but it was a painful loss last night, 31-25 against the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts were up 25-9 in the fourth quarter. 25-9 in the fourth quarter. They lost 31-25 in OT. Man, oh man, they couldn't close that game out. What makes it even harder is with not much time left in the game, they had about a 30-odd yard field goal, and the Colts kicker missed it. Matter of fact, he missed a couple field goals. So, yeah, he was not the most, I guess, appreciated man in the locker room, I would say, after that game. But you got one job, kicker. Kick it, get it over with, game over. No. So they went to overtime. Baltimore wins the coin toss. They go down, first drive, touchdown, game over. Okay. Now, Carson Wentz, Colts quarterback, he had a very, very good game. Over 400 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Their running back, Jonathan Taylor, was massive. 169 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. They still couldn't close out the game. Defense has got to step it up in that situation. All right, so let's look at this. Both teams come in at 1-4. 1-4, both teams. But the Colts are favored by 9 and a hook. What's wrong with this picture? Well, again, you got to look at their records, but you really got to look a little deeper. Now, Houston, they've got 1 win. It came against Jacksonville in week 1. Jacksonville is goose egg in 5, 0-5. That's the only team they've been able to step it up and win. They are definitely a 1-4 team. Then I look at the Colts. Yep, they're 1-4, but LA Rams, they played them tough. Could have won that game. You know, if they had a bounce or play go their way, they could have won. And last night, they should have beat the Ravens. I mean, that game was done and dusted if their kicker just makes that gimme field goal, but they didn't. So I think the Colts really should be a 3-2 team. But their record is their record. So that's why I think that 9.5 is the right number. The Colts are much better than a 1-4 team. I like the Colts. I'm going to lay the 9.5 at home. They're going to get it right. Look for a big day for Wentz. And as far as the total, 42.5. Boy, that's a low total. I actually like the over. Okay? I actually think that the Colts are going to put up some points, and the Texans may get some garbage points at the end. I like the over 42.5, and I like the Colts laying the 9.5. All right, so that's covers my NFL spotlight plays this week. Where are we moving now? NHL. Love it. Like I said, hockey is back. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to break down the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and I'm going to tell you who's going to win the Stanley Cup. All right, so let's start with the NHL Eastern Conference. Current favorites, you got Tampa Bay plus 350, Toronto plus 450, Boston plus 600, the Islanders are plus 700, Panthers plus 900, Rangers plus 1200, Hurricanes plus 1300, Penguins plus 1300, Capitals plus 1500, and the Flyers plus 2000. Okay, again, those are the fair. There are a couple of teams, but I really don't think anyone, those other than those guys and girls, I don't see anyone else being close this year. So the question I've been getting before the season started, I mean, even tonight, I got a direct message via Facebook from one of our followers is, can anyone stop the Tampa Bay train on its way to a third Stanley Cup? My answer is upcoming. Little teaser there. I'm going to give you the 3 teams that I consider the favorites in the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to tell you who's going to win and end up going to play for the Stanley Cup. So, Tampa Bay, they're one of my 3 teams. Plus 350, okay? Now, they've certainly earned the right to be favored to win this conference. I mean, after back-to-back cups, I mean, you literally, you got to kind of pencil them in as one of the contenders right out of the gate, okay? Now, they did have a little bit of turnover this season with their roster, but still got Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevsky in goal. I mean, they're still stacked. They're still a great team. They're going to score a lot of goals. They're exciting to watch. They certainly are a favorite, and they're certainly one of my 3 favorites to win the Eastern Conference. Toronto, got to put them in my top 3. They're plus 450 in most books to win the Eastern Conference. This team will be, and for a long time moving forward, will be led by Austin Matthews. Now, last year was a shortened season, okay? He played in 52 games, all right? He had 41 goals, 25 assists. This guy is a stud on skates, okay? Now, he's also got John Tavares. He's got Nick Ritchie. He's got Mitchell Marner. You know, you got in goal, you got Jack Campbell, and you got Peter Mazurek, okay? They've got a good team. They've got a really good team, okay? So, they're in my top 3, okay? Let's look at the third team that I've got as a favorite, and that is the Boston Bruins, okay? Plus 600 to win the Eastern Conference. Now, they've got some changes, and they're big changes, you know. No David Krejci, right? He's been with the team since 2007. Been a regular on that team. Been a big contributor. But more importantly, he's been what I call Mr. Playoff. They make the playoff. The light goes on, the switch, whatever it is, he's been phenomenal in the playoffs. Now, he hasn't officially retired from the NHL, but he did leave, and he's back home in the Czech Republic, and he's actually playing in the Czech League. Now, he said, no, I'm not coming back. I'm happy here. I'm raising my kids. All great reasons, okay? But he hasn't officially retired. Don't forget that. Now, the Czech League ends in April. Well, we'll just see where the Bruins are come April and May. And you may see Mr. Krejci, at least I think you may see him come back for a little playoff run. Because, again, that's really when he gets excited. That's when he really becomes a superstar that he is. It's almost like he's in cruise control in the regular season, but, man, when the playoff comes, man, he's just in another level. So, and then we can't forget Tuukka Rask, okay? Now, he is still rehabbing from a surgically repaired hip. Now, he's hopeful that he can come back. We don't know yet, right? No one knows. It just depends on, again, how the surgery went, how his rehab went, how his head is. Does he really want to come back? We shall see. Right now, the Bruins have Jeremy Swayman, and they have Linus Ullmark, who they got from Buffalo, to be their goaltenders, okay? I think they're going to be fine between the pipes, okay? Why is that? Because they have enough firepower to make up for any deficiencies they may have in net. Bergeron, Marchand, Pastrnak, Taylor Hall, right? Who else did they pick up in the offseason? Well, no, who did they pick up in the offseason? Nick Foligno. Yeah, Nick Foligno. Tough guy, grit, can score, can pass, can fight. I mean, it's like he was born to be a Bruin. Okay, that's part of the Bruin DNA. All the things I just said. Well, guess what? He's played in 957 games in the NHL, over 200 goals, almost 300 assists. This guy, he's going to contribute, not just his presence, but he's going to be on the scoreboard too. Okay, on defense, you've got Charlie McAvoy and Brandon Carlo. They're really coming into their own. They're coming back. A couple of young guns coming up. So, all right, so those are my three teams that I think are really going to be in contention for the Eastern Conference. So back to my teaser question. Can anyone slow down or stop the Tampa Bay train from winning their third cup? The answer, yes. I like the Boston Bruins plus 600 to come out of the Eastern Conference. I like the Bees this year. I think that's a live play. Okay. Now, how about a long shot? Everyone asks me, well, okay, that's your favorite. What about a long shot? I like my long shot is the Washington Capitals at plus 1,500. Listen, last year I think they finished second in points behind Pittsburgh. Okay, as long as you have Ovechkin and you have Kucherov, you got a shot at winning any hockey game. So listen, long shot, it's worth 100 to make 1,500. Sure. Give me the Washington Capitals to win the Eastern Conference as a long shot. All right, let's move on to the Western Conference. Okay, here are your favorites. You got the Avalanche at plus 200, Vegas plus 300, Oilers plus 900, the Wild plus 1,000, Dallas Stars plus 1,400, Seattle Kraken, that's right, expansion team. We're going to talk about them a little bit, plus 1,500. The Jets plus 1,600, the Blues plus 1,800, the Blackhawks plus 1,800, and the Nashville Predators plus 2,000. Again, there's a couple other teams, but I really think these are the ones that have a legitimate shot at the Western Conference. Now, before I get to the three that I think have the best chance of coming out of this conference, I've been asked a few questions. Now, I mentioned the Seattle Kraken. That's a cool name, and I like saying it that way. They don't say it that way. I do. Whatever. That's on me, folks. All right, they're an expansion team, right? First year in the league. I've been asked by a few people, are they going to be good? Okay? The answer is, yeah. Listen, they've got a very, very competitive roster, okay? They've got a good mix of some really good veterans, and they've got some young talent, okay? They've got Mike Giordano. They've got Jordan Eberle. They've got Jaden Schwartz, Yanni Gertie, and Adam Larson, and net. They again, from Colorado, they got Philip Grubauer. Okay, now this guy had a 1.95 goals against last year. This guy is a legit goaltender, okay? So never mind the word expansion, because it really, it kind of doesn't exist anymore. And what I mean by that is, do you think an expansion team, they're starting from scratch, they have nothing? Well, that's not how the NHL works, okay? When an expansion team comes in, the way they set up the draft is all the teams, they have to make players available. Now you can make certain players untouchable, as they call it. Well, I forget what the term is. But other than that, all their rosters are open. Okay? So if you got a good GM that can spot talent, well, you can take an expansion team from 0 to 100 real fast. Okay? Let's not forget Vegas, the Golden Knights. Okay? They've only been in the league since 2017 as an expansion team. Well, guess what? They've been in the playoffs every year. And in their first year, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Okay? An expansion team, year one, Stanley Cup Finals. Now, they ended up losing to Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. But, again, expansion team going to the Stanley Cup in their first year. Wow. That would have been unheard of 15 or 20 years ago. Not today. Not the way they set up this expansion draft. So I guess to answer the question, yes, I think Seattle is going to be a good team. Do I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup? I'll have to let you know shortly. All right, anyways. So the three teams that I consider favors or really have the best shot at coming out of the Western Conference. Colorado Avalanche. Okay, you got to put them there. Plus 200 to win the conference. Now, it's hard to believe, but Colorado actually in the offseason improved. They got deeper in 3 or 4 different positions. They literally have the best depth out of any team in the NHL. Okay, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Cole Maker. I keep saying his name wrong. Cale. I'm sorry. It's Cale Maker. Marker. Okay, those 4 guys, perennial all-stars. Okay, Colorado is the real deal. There's a reason why they're plus 200. Okay. Next team, I think, out of the West in my top 3, Vegas, the Golden Knights. Okay. It's hard to believe. They've only been in the league 2017. I'm saying it again. But they are literally one of the NHL elites. Hands down. Okay. They are loaded in every position. Stevenson, Carlson, Pacioretty, Pietrangelo, Stone. Just across the board. I mean, you look across their team and you're like, there's goals there. He's going to score. He's going to score. Boy, that defender's good. Vegas Knights are a really, really good team. Now, they actually let go the Vezina Trophy winner last year, their goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury. Wow. Mark, again, best goaltender in the league, they let go. Okay, I think that's going to hurt them a little bit this year. Why they let him go? Salary dump. That's all it was. He was going to make between $7 and $8 million this year. They didn't want that. They wanted to free up some money, so they actually traded him to the Chicago Blackhawks for basically a bag of pucks. So, but again, I don't think that's going to be I don't think that was the best move. Now, they have Robin Lehner. He's going to come in. He's going to be their starting goaltender. Now, he's been a backup last couple of years, so he's not new to the team, but he's not Fleury. Okay, so we'll see. Do I think Vegas Knights are going to win the Western? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Third team that I consider a favorite is the Edmonton Oilers. Now, they're plus 900. Okay, plus 900. 2 players will determine what they do. Okay, pretty obvious. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Okay, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Okay, they're 2 of the best players in the league, and they're on the same team. Okay, now they also added Zach Hyman to an already potent offense. On defense, Tyson Barrie and Darnell Nurse. 2 really good players that can also score a lot of goals. Offensive defenders or defense, whatever the term is, they're good defenders, but they can also put the biscuit in the basket. Okay? Now, the wild card in this is the goaltender Mike Smith. He's a good goaltender. Okay? He's not great. Now, if he plays a little bit better this year, okay, that's going to be the difference. Okay? That's why I like the Edmonton Oilers plus 900 to win the Western Conference. Okay? Oilers plus 900. Okay, just like I did in the Eastern Conference, I always get asked, well, what's your long shot? Well, my long shot is the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 1,800. Okay? Now, they've added Seth Jones to their defensive line. Defensive line. They've added him to their defense. Okay? You got Patrick Kane. You got Alex DeBrincat. Okay? Jonathan Taves is coming back too. Okay? Listen, you know who the X factor here is, though? Marc-Andre Fleury. He's coming in. He is going to be their starting goaltender. No matter what. Yes, he's eccentric. Yes, he's kind of crazy. And yes, he's got that personality that can drive you crazy if you're on the other team. But man, wherever he goes, he wins. Okay? Wherever he goes, he wins. He won 3 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. 3. Okay? He took the Vegas Knights in their first year of existence to the Stanley Cup Finals. This guy is a great goaltender. Yes, he's 36 or 37 years old. He's still got a couple good years left. So, long shot to me is the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 1,800. All right. So I got the Bruins coming out of the East. I have the Oilers coming out of the West. Those two are going to meet in the Stanley Cup Finals. All right. The Bruins, to win the Stanley Cup, are plus 1,400. The Oilers to win the Cup, plus 2,200. Who do I like? The Bruins. The Boston Bruins at plus 1,400 are going to be this year's Stanley Cup champion. So, listen, I hope I gave you some good insight. I gave you my best shot at the 3 teams I think are going to come out of the Eastern Conference. But boy, oh boy, the season's underway. Really looking forward to watching some games, getting down on some games, and sharing some of my tips. Now, as far as I mentioned, I had one game on the board, okay, and that is the Arizona Coyotes. Okay, they are on the road to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, so that's the one game I kind of got penciled in this week that I'm going to get down on. Okay, Columbus is a minus 118 favorite at home. Arizona is terrible. Okay, they will probably finish dead last. Okay, Columbus, up and coming team, didn't have a great season last year. Okay, they're going to score a lot of goals this year. You got Patrick Lane and you got Jacob Voracek, and those two are starting to gel. Watch them have a big night this weekend. First game out for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I like them minus 118 over the Arizona Coyotes. All right, so let's move on to some soccer, a little international football. All right, we're going to start with CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying. Brazil minus 210, host Uruguay. Uruguay is a plus 550 underdog. The draw is set at plus 320. Okay, goal total set at 2 and a hook. All right. Last time out, early this week in qualifying, Brazil had a 0-0 draw at Colombia. You're thinking, what? Yeah, Colombia. Well, guess what? Colombia plays Brazil very tough, okay? And Brazil is tough at home, okay? So I don't want to knock Brazil. I actually want to give Colombia credit for holding Brazil 0-0. Now, it was the first game back for Neymar Jr. after a suspension. So maybe he was just kind of getting his feet wet. Now, that draw ended Brazil's 9-game winning streak in CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying. Now, didn't change the standings. They're still in first with 28 points. Argentina is behind them with 22. Okay, let's look at Uruguay. 3-0 loss at Argentina. Okay, Lionel Messi had one of his highlight goals. So, again, Argentina with Messi on the pitch, Uruguay, losing 3-0. Okay, it's understandable. Now, Uruguay, they go on the road again this week to face Brazil. Last 11 meetings between these two sides. Brazil's won 9. There's been 2 draws. Okay, Uruguay isn't going to beat Brazil in this match either. Okay, look for Brazil minus 210 to win this match. And their goal drought, it's one game. They put up the big goose egg last time out against Colombia. Look for them to light up the scoreboard here. I like the over 2.5 goals, over the 2.5. Okay, going to stay in CONMEBOL. Look at another World Cup qualifier, and that is Chile minus 230. They're going to host Venezuela. Now, Venezuela is plus 700 dog. Okay, the draw is set at plus 350. Plus 320. Goal total is set at 2.5. All right, Chile comes off a 2-0 win at home against Paraguay. They actually dominated that game, over 60% possession to 40. Their home crowd really was up for it. It amped them up. I think it actually willed them to a victory. It was just their second win in their 11 qualifying matches. Now, Venezuela, they also picked up a win. Very surprising. You could say it was a unexpected win over Ecuador. Okay, now Ecuador currently sits 3rd in the table, in the standings for World Cup qualifying. Venezuela, last. Okay, again, it was only their second win in 11 matches also. All right, last 6 times Chile and Venezuela has met, Chile has won 5 of them. The one win by Venezuela came this past November, 2-1. Don't think Chile has forgotten that, okay? Now, Venezuela goes on the road to face Chile, who's got some momentum. The last time Venezuela went on the road and won a game, let me look at my calendar, look at my sundial, 2019. Yeah, 2019. It was a friendly at Japan. That was the last time they won a road game. They're not going to do it here, okay? Look for Chile to win this match, minus 230. I'm taking Chile. And the goal total is at 2.5. I like the over here, too. I think Chile is going to put up some goals, and you may see Venezuela get kind of a garbage goal late in the game. I like the over 2.5, and I like Chile at minus 230. Okay. English Premier League, EPL. One game I'm looking at this weekend, and it is Leicester City plus 270 hosting Manchester United, who's favored at plus 105. The draw is set at plus 250. Goal total set at 2.5. Last 5 matches, pretty much split them. 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses for each team. So they've been playing each other pretty evenly. Currently in the EPL standings, Leicester City sits 13th with 8 points. They've got 2 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. They've got 9 goals, and they've got 12 against. Manchester United sits 4th in the table with 14 points, okay? 4 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, 14 goals, 6 against, okay? Last 2 matches, Leicester City has won, okay? In May, they beat Manchester United 2-1, and the game before that was the 2020 FA Cup semifinal. Leicester City came out on top 1-0. Leicester went on to play Chelsea and won last year's FA Cup. So Manchester United probably hasn't forgotten that, because that could have been some hardware that Man U could have put on their mantle, but it ended up going to Leicester City. Okay, so obviously the shiny new object that Manchester United picked up in the offseason was Cristiano Ronaldo. And he has been scoring goals. Matter of fact, in World Cup qualifying earlier this week, Portugal took on Luxembourg. Okay? Portugal won 5-0. Ronaldo scored 3. Yes, another hat trick. This guy is just a goal machine. His playing mate in Portugal and playing mate on Man U, Bruno Fernandes, also had a goal. These two are starting to mesh, okay? Sometimes you get two big personalities on the same pitch. Doesn't always work. These two, it's working, it's gelling. Watch out what's going to happen as they play more games this year together at Man U. Now, Manchester United looks like they're going to be without Harry Maguire, who's banged up a little bit, and then Varane, defender, who got banged up in the UEFA's Nation League final, playing for France. They got the victory. They came home with the trophy, but he came home with an injury. So, Man U's defensive backfield is a little depleted, but I still think they have enough to win this match. So I like Man U at plus 105 to win this match. Now the goal total is set at 2 and a hook. I think you're going to have some goals in this game. I like the over 2 and a hook. All right, Man U over 2.5 goals. All right, we're going to end the show with a little NASCAR. Okay, we're going to look at a couple driver matchup props. Okay, the NASCAR circus, they roll into Texas Motor Speedway this weekend for the Autotrader EchoPark 500. There's 2 driver matchups that I like. Austin Dillon versus Tyler Reddick, both minus 105. I like Austin Dillon to finish ahead of Tyler Reddick. Now, these two are teammates. Same equipment. Austin Dillon just has a little more success on 1.5-mile tracks. Matter of fact, he's actually won at Texas Motor Speedway. I like Austin Dillon to finish ahead of Tyler Reddick. My other driver matchup I am looking at, Cole Custer versus Bubba Wallace. Okay, again, both similar results on 1.5-mile tracks. Just Cole Custer a little bit better. I like his equipment versus Bubba Wallace. So I like Cole Custer to finish ahead of Bubba Wallace. So those are my 2 plays this weekend in the NASCAR Autotrader EchoPark 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. All right, so that's going to put a wrap on this episode, okay? I hope I shared some good insight. I hope you got some good information. But more importantly, I hope you cash some big tickets. So, listen, appreciate everyone listening. On behalf of everyone for the 7 and a Hook podcast, we'd like to say we appreciate you. We certainly want to wish you a good day. And as we always say, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.
Thanks again for tuning in to the 7 and a Hook podcast. Until next time, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.